This next topic is brought to us by FanDuel, guys. The NFL season's here. FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download the FanDuel app and get things started today. So on our post-game show yesterday, G and I did the post-game show, and we got about 50 super chats. About 35 are related to Shedeur Sanders. Why people were mad and why they were curious, why they were trying to rationalize the fact that he didn't get in the game in garbage time for that final last drive with about 3 minutes left in the game. G and I, we gave our thoughts on the post-game show. G, you can get yours in a sec. But, Bull, I want you to start because you just brought this up.
I mean, that's just nuts. Yeah. That's just nuts. First of all, putting him into the end of the game in a blowout, like, why would you do that?
You're not going to throw the ball. So
I know. What is the point of putting him in the end?
What are we going to evaluate his handoff skills?
I don't understand. First of all the people going nuts about Shedeur yesterday, like he should play. Most of those people are not Browns fans. They're Shedeur fans, which is fine. It is what it is. But it is interesting to me that, and I'm going to make a lot of people angry with this because whatever reason, but I'm going to do it anyway. It is interesting to me that I noticed this specifically, so I was looking at it as much as I could in the game and spoke to a couple people, whatever, but I noticed in the Bengals game on Thursday when Joe Flacco, and maybe you guys noticed this too, I don't know. Every time Joe Flacco sat on the bench after the Bengals had a possession, Jake Browning, who's the Bengals backup, sat right next to him every time.
I know.
And Joe Burrow was actually at the game too, and he was sitting there too.
And he was helping too.
Yeah. So I noticed that Quinn Ewers was sitting next to Tua.
That's common, Bull. What you're saying is very common.
Shedeur Sanders, I don't think ever sat next to Dillon Gabriel during this game in between possessions.
I haven't seen it this year.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's something out of nothing. I just thought it was curious. Usually the backup quarterback, and again, maybe, when he was the third string, okay, maybe that's, but he's been the backup the last few weeks.
I would want, because usually those conversations are quarterback coach or coordinators upstairs, whoever is the highest ranking offensive coach is going over things with the quarterback.
Right.
Just stand there and listen.
That's a learning opportunity.
That's an opportunity to learn something.
So I'm just curious about that. I don't know why he's not.
Jade, is that odd to you? Because I've noticed that as well. Someone pointed it out to me, and after they did, I've started looking for it, and I haven't seen him standing there to osmosis learn whatever that he can from the conversation.
He gets, when they huddle up, like on the sideline on the timeout,
yes,
and he gets in the mix there. But when the quarterback
and he is wearing a headset, which you would do, of course.
I don't know. Is this something out of nothing? I'm just kind of trying to figure what's going on here.
No, he is typically, at least yesterday when I was watching the sideline, he was off to himself, or he was talking to Denzel Ward. He was not with Dillon going over the iPad.
And the backup is typically with him,
yes.
Right? In that situation?
Usually he is, yes. I'm just...
Jason doesn't want to get
No, I get it. Listen,
well, no, I don't care about that. I don't know why we're talking about this. I do know why. But this is silly.
Well, I mean, it's not silly if he's not doing all he can to get better.
The reason I think it's relevant is because part of the discussion is he's not ready.
Should Shedeur have closed out the game, to me, is silly.
That is silly.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at it first and foremost. The camera is not on Shedeur Sanders at all times. So there's actually a clip on YouTube where he gets with Dillon Gabriel as he's coming off the field and walking down the sideline.
I haven't seen that, and you're right. We don't know what's always going on.
We don't know. The thing is, this is how when you talk about backup quarterback, this is the thing where people talk about the noise on the outside and different things like that. Nobody watches the interaction between backup quarterbacks and regular quarterbacks. In regular teams, we don't care if Carson Wentz is standing next to Patrick Mahomes. You just watch Patrick Mahomes because he's good and you know what it is. But what happens is, because we are at a point that we want to watch and we need to figure out or justify why or why not is he not playing, then we got to go through these mental gymnastics. Trust me, when you're the backup quarterback, you got a headset. You know the game plan. You're in the meetings. They put the game plan in on practice. Obviously, he's involved in what they're doing and whatever the case may be. Another thing is sometimes you don't. It's two younger players, right? This is Shedeur Sanders and it's Dillon Gabriel. When you got a veteran, right, and a veteran is the backup, you can play that role because you want to get with him and say, "Here's
right."
What we
But Jake
miss.
Browning was sitting with Joe Flacco.
But
he's a young player
but
too.
But these are still again. That's a young player and an old player. So sometimes when you have two quarterbacks and you guys are the same age, compete for the same thing, sometimes you want to give people space. Like you want to give them an opportunity to figure out and don't be all over them and hovering them, because sometimes, think about this. People say, well, why is he in the camera? He went over to the kicker one time and they said, why is he in the camera with the kicker? Why is he talking? It's sometimes it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. In terms of, to me, that's a nothing burger. That's just
so.
What it is.
If every other backup quarterback, I don't know that this is the case, but if every other backup quarterback is sitting there next to the quarterback in that situation and Shedeur's not, you still wouldn't think it's a big deal? I don't know that it's the case. I'm just asking you.
No, I wouldn't, because.
What about this? Because, Jay, I think increasingly the narrative is it's starting to get out more that the Browns believe that he is not ready. That is
Joe Flacco said it this week.
Flacco said it. There's other players that have skirted around the issue, and there are I don't want to say leaks, but you hear things from inside teams all the time. And to me, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, it increasingly has become the narrative that he is not ready. Am I overstating that?
No, I mean I've been saying it for months.
So with that in mind, and
but you got to understand, there's multiple people that will say he is ready and they're excited to see him play. The thing of it is, you got to think about it. We sitting here talking about it, right? He's the backup quarterback. He's sitting there, he's learning, he's doing whatever the case may be. He's sitting there, he ain't saying nothing, he's learning. The narrative that we got to go week by week to say he's either ready or not ready is crazy. It's like, yo, at the end of the day, he's the backup quarterback supporting Dillon Gabriel, learning the game plan, and doing it at a high level. And just
But
sitting there.
we're getting asked about it all the time, so it's not crazy to talk about.
Who's asking about
We're
readiness?
getting questions on in the YouTube chat every week, every day.
So here's how. Let me answer the question. You say, why did they put Shedeur Sanders in? First and foremost, and this isn't really college. This is the pros. They don't really be putting quarterbacks in garbage time. They don't take quarterbacks out. If you're the starting quarterback and you playing, they don't do garbage time. This ain't Florida or Tennessee.
You're right about that.
The quarterback's the quarterback. If we lose
Generally, yes. The Dolphins did it yesterday.
Which was why I was so surprised.
It would have made no sense to put Shedeur in.
Putting Shedeur in.
That made no sense.
If it was Ohio State,
they don't do that. So, and that by the way, I've been consistent. I even had a problem when they put Dillon Gabriel in when Flacco was in. I'm like, let him finish the game and figure it out. If you want to play him and start him, give him a week to prepare and start him. Now, secondly, from a player's perspective, no players want to go into games when they are cold and not ready. And when I mean not ready, not mentally ready, I'm saying it's a rainy day. You haven't warmed up. You've been on the sidelines. It's wet outside. You're playing against a team. The game is out of tow. Now think about it. If you put him in a game and something happens where he gets hurt, then you're going to say what?
Yeah, why was he in there in the first place?
Why was he in the first place?
Yeah, I don't.
It's a lose-lose.
That conversation is silly.
Because, you know this, and this is why I thought it was kind of a silly conversation. I know that we have to respond to all of the comments. I get that. But to just demonstrate that all of the comments are silly, I think we're all in agreement. There's no way you're going to put him in a game in that situation.
No.
I think it's demeaning to him. Because when he does get his chance to play, don't put handcuffs on him, let him play. And what would he have done yesterday? Turned around and given the ball to 10.
That would have been the dumbest thing ever.
What do we learn from that? Oh, man, his handoff game is on point. He needs to play. You're not going to do anything positive.
No, that's stupid.
It's not. Bro, any player. Ask Tyvis, go ask him. Ask any player. If you sit on that sideline and they say you going in, now this is different. If somebody gets hurt or the coach says, hey, this guy's hurt, obviously every teammate is going to go into the football game because your team needs you.
With excitement, too.
With excitement.
You want to play.
Here's the thing. But if it's
garbage time.
It's garbage time and I'm handing the ball off. No. Let him finish his breakfast. Like let him finish what he is. Here's the thing I got to say, and I'll give it back to the rest of the audience. Listen, when he get an opportunity to play, let him have an opportunity to play
For real.
For real.
Yeah.
Them snaps at the end of the game is not going to do anything for his development, nothing. Those are snaps, handoffs, and that's window dressing. I'm not trying to see window dressing. Give Dillon Gabriel his opportunity to play and see what he can do. If it ain't looking like what it's supposed to look like in a couple of weeks, he gonna be out of here anyway.
Yep.
So then you got a bye week after that to get ready and figure it out. And then you can give the ball to Shedeur Sanders and say, listen, let's go and see what you can do.
1,000%.
But that is not going to do nothing for if he hands the ball off 6 times, they're not going to turn around and say, oh, he's a franchise quarterback. That's not it.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
that's silly.
So give him the whole opportunity.
One thing, too, because it does sound like it's a pile-on Shedeur that we point out that he's not sitting with the quarterback. To G's point, we don't know what's going on. What the camera shows us on the sidelines is approximately 3% of the entire broadcast.
Yeah, but
so we don't know for
But Jay,
sure.
somebody said something to me about it last
Okay.
week. And then, so I was looking at it this week, and then I spoke to the same person this week, and the person said to me, yeah, he doesn't sit by him. I don't know that that's a big deal. I don't know that other teams don't do it.
Right.
I don't know if it's what's happening.
Jay would know because if he wanted, he could spyglass him the entire game.
The person that told me this was at the game.
Well,
so,
then that gives it a little bit more credibility.
But I'm not saying it's necessarily a deal because I don't know what other teams do.
On the flip side to that, if I'm a young quarterback, I have to ask, everything I do, is it making me better? And to that point, you only get 3 hours of live bullets a week. So how would I, as a young player, choose to spend those hours? I'm going to be immersed. I'm not going to stand on the sideline and talk to Denzel or the kicker. I am going to immerse myself into the offensive operation. And if that means, and I like what you said about giving the quarterback his space. I like that. But you can eavesdrop. Maybe you're standing behind him on the bench, but you can still hear the coach. Again, how am I spending every second of my day? If I'm judging my time management, I'm asking this question about every second. Is this making me better or not? And in that situation, I think it's obvious you're going to learn something if you're standing and hearing those conversations.
Well, maybe he's hearing it on the headphones.
Talking to Dillon Gabriel.
Who knows? I don't know.
Right. That headset is live. So when they throw the ball, he hear it. When they call the play, he hear it. During TV timeouts, when you have a TV timeout, there's a whole 3 to 5 minutes of beer commercials. And guess what? They're talking to the offensive staff. They're talking to the coach. When you're the backup quarterback, you know the game plan. The thing that we gotta do and we gotta stop is we gotta stop assuming and get down to the nitty-gritty of football. Dillon Gabriel is the quarterback at this point. We need to evaluate that. We can't be sitting here evaluating how many times Shedeur Sanders is sitting there, or if he has a backwards hat, or what is he doing on this day. Listen, at some point, I get it. The pushback is people are so fiercely pro-Shedeur that there's a natural human tendency to push back against that, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here as an analyst and sit there and count how many times he's standing next to Dillon Gabriel during the game in order to then say, well, look, he's not ready to play. The Cleveland Browns said this. For everything that we said, Bailey Zappi was supposed to be the backup quarterback. He thought the Cleveland Browns organization made the decision that he was at a place in his career where they trusted him to be the backup. So I either have to take their word for it, like everybody wants me to do, or I got to sit here and think about reasons as to why this is happening. Either way, it's not productive. It's about what's going on in the film, and we're not sitting there in the locker rooms. And by the way, there are multiple people, I consistently say, there are veterans on this team that are excited to see Shedeur Sanders play. And they feel like Myles Garrett says, I see him in the coach's office all the time. I walk right by there. I like what he's doing. At the end of the day, it's about seeing what he's going to do on the field.
I think the fans are excited to see him play, too.
Oh,
I want to see what he is.
Right.
But
I think we all want to see him play.
The problem is, and this is why you don't draft 2 quarterbacks in the same draft. There's a myriad of reasons why you don't do that, but in this particular case, you can only evaluate one at a time. It's not like they're wide receivers and you can put 2 of them in the game at the same time and they can rack up plays. We can only evaluate one quarterback at a time. And right now, we're still reading the book on Dillon Gabriel. When we've got enough intel as to what the book looks like, then we have to put that book down and simultaneously read 2 at once and pick this book up and see what he can do. When he comes into the game, no matter what you're doing in your house, and people watch with varying levels of intensity. Some people are glued and they don't want to be talked to. Other people are doing things around the house. When he comes in for the first time, the 50% of the fans that are just kind of milling about and it's background noise are going to be at the edge of their seat, glued to the television, because we are all excited about what this kid could be.
There's been so much talk about it. You want to know what's
We want to see it. We want to see it.
You can take 2 quarterbacks in a draft. The issue here, to me,
it's only happened once or twice.
But you can do it. But when the one that comes to mind, obviously, is Washington.
Right.
And you had a clear cut, this is the guy.
Right.
And you had a clear cut, this is a
the
development.
Backup. Yes.
This is a development. That's not the case here.
No.
Because you took one in the 3rd round and you took one in the 5th round, and the whole package that comes with the 5th round guy, that's the issue that they're running into with this.
And the 5th round guy was suggested by many people to be the second player taken.
It's not that they took 2 rookie quarterbacks. That's not the issue. It's the 2 that they took, and the round that they took them in. Here's the only thing I'll say. Yes, he's usually not near Dillon. I don't think that's not going to impact what kind of quarterback he is when he gets there. I honestly think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have 2 rookies now, and Shedeur's never been a backup. Yeah. And he doesn't know how a backup is supposed to operate.
That's a good point.
Usually on an NFL sideline, yes, you see the backup, because a lot of times the backup is a valuable set of eyes. When the bullets are flying with the starter, the backup can say, I don't know if you saw this. There was this, there was that. Right. And they don't have that right now, partly because they've got 2 rookies out there.
Sure.
So there isn't that's the one role where Flacco could have helped, or Pickett, or Bailey Zappi, or someone else could help as the veteran who has seen it enough to be able to help the rookie in that spot.
What is the rule on quarterbacks? Can Zappi be on the sidelines?
No, because he's not on the 53. Well, no,
why
because
was
he's
Joe
not on the 53.
But Joe Burrow was on the sideline the other night.
Right.
Why could Joe Burrow be there? Is it because it's an injury designation?
He's on the 53.
So he's not on the active 53.
Yeah, no, he's not right now.
But yeah.
So I just wondered, where's Bailey Zappi?
I guess practice squad players can't be on there unless they're.
Yes, because I might be talking out of turn on this. In order to be the emergency 3rd quarterback, you have to be carried on the 53.
Yes, yes.
And the Browns have not done that, to my knowledge, with Bailey.
No,
I don't think they have. No.
So he's still a practice squad guy.
Right.
So he's not going to be. He would be up in the booth on game days.
If you go back and listen, to give you context on the quarterback help thing, right? You got to think about it like this. Even Joe Flacco had, when you competing, right? Even Joe Flacco would get questions all the time because he said, listen, I'm not here to be a mentor, I'm here to play. He would get that, and he got questions for a whole 2 years about that. He said, listen, guys, I got to tell you, when I'm in that room, I'm going to do everything I can to help him out. But let me just let you guys know, quarterbacks are built differently. I'm supposed to think I can play. Now, he has the maturity as he's been older enough to even figure that out and understand what that is. You got 2 rookies. They told you from Jump Street, y'all are competing. From Jump Street. The team said that. So it's hard to navigate as 2 rookies trying to compete for a job, for one role. One guy's trying to keep it and one guy is trying to prove himself, right? So go back and look at Johnny Manziel and Brian Hoyer. What did Johnny say? Brian Hoyer, man, that guy didn't help me at all. Now think about it.
Part of the reason for that is Johnny was not putting in the work.
Right.
Johnny was not interested.
A big part.
Brian made the assessment very quickly. He doesn't want the help.
I'm not doing that. I'm not. Yeah. And guess what? He made the assessment. I'm not wasting my time on you. You ain't even putting the work in, bro.
That's right.
You're not doing what you're supposed to do. But it just goes to show you that the human nature and the human side of it when you competing, and when you got 2 dudes, right, and you got one dude that's competing, another one is. Necessarily, I don't want to be like this. Hey, what you doing? You missed that right over there. He like, how you know? I'm the quarterback. Like,
I know what you're saying. You're right, but
I'm gonna support you, my guy. That's what we gonna do. That's what we gonna do.
Yeah. I do understand what you're saying. That position, not that the others aren't competitive, but because only one of them is going to play, like you got corners, you got DBs, you got wide receivers, you got linemen. There's a lot more cohesion in those groups because everybody's getting to eat. But in the quarterback room, there's just the very nature of the room. First of all, these guys are all alpha dogs, every one of them. They have been the best players on their teams their entire life. Not that the other position guys haven't, but they usually are the de facto leader of the team. And now you're asked to take not just a subservient role, but you're persona non grata. When you're the backup quarterback, like you got a hat and a clipboard, and that's about it. And you're out of sight and out of mind. And that's hard for these guys to deal with because they've always been the first person that the reporters run to after the game. They're the alpha dog. They're the leader. And now you're in this weirdly different situation.
Browns did it to themselves.
And everybody handles it differently. I guess I can sit here and say, if it were me, I'd want to learn everything I could, but there would also be a part of me, particularly if I thought I was better than that guy. What am I going to learn from him? And that there's probably at quarterback, there's some of that goes on.
And you're touching on it. When I know early in my career, there were people around my age, coming up at the same time, and you're like, it's competitive.
Very much so.
And you are not friends.
Same with TV.
You are not friends.
Same with TV.
Now, later in your career,
Yep.
as you establish yourself 10 years later, they can become one of your best friends.
Even if they're a competitor.
But when you're first coming up,
no. Yep, that was exactly how I handled it too. Now, I never was rude to anybody, but I never went out of my way to talk to anybody or to be friendly, ever.
I was not doing dinner.
I was like, when I moved to Cleveland, I was
but
like,
later.
I was like, Anthony Lima stinks, Ken Carmen's a fraud at night.
But you know what happens?
Baskin and Phelps, who was crazy enough
I'm not
to put
going to speak
them
for you. I'll speak for me.
go ahead.
Jay, you can echo this.
Yeah.
For me, when you get confidence in your skill set, like I was that, but I was that way quietly. I wouldn't denigrate any of my colleagues.
I denigrated all of them.
I know you did. I know you did.
No, I did.
And that's your personality.
No, I actually didn't. I'm
but
kidding.
that's what you do. That's who you are, though.
I denigrate people. I not my colleagues that I work with.
Well, no, see, now I consider my colleagues to be people that do the same thing I do, even if they're doing it for another.
So if I say Spiro Ditas has no interest when he's calling games, that's a bad thing?
Well, no, that's your opinion. Well, you're absolutely entitled to that. I happen to like Spiro. I mean, I think he's perfectly slotted. All that being said, when I was young and much more insecure in my skill set, I found it a lot easier to watch guys, particularly when I was like 24, 25. I would turn on ESPN and I'd be like, how in the hell is, I won't say any names, is that person on ESPN? And then when I got
you're full
older,
of it. You still say that sometimes.
I don't. Now what
Privately
I did,
to yourself, you'll say it.
I don't, Bull, because what I've realized in doing this, and maybe it was the page that Joe Flacco turned.
When he realized,
Jay's saying I'm insecure.
No. What I'm saying is, I bet you if you measure how much you do of it now compared to how much you did when you were 25, it's a lot less. It is for me. Like I still see guys that I'm like, it's more sympathetic. I'm like, wow, that guy's over his skis and he doesn't know it yet.
Hey, listen, Jay realized, he said, hold on, man, I'm rich. I don't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't have to do with the money. It doesn't.
Well, by the way, I was watching SportsCenter.
Jay, you can. I know that you feel the same thing.
Oh, Jay shits on everybody behind the scenes.
You reach a point. Well, you know what? If that's his opinion, he's entitled to that.
Behind the scenes.
What I just try to do this.
Who, me?
I fail sometimes.
I thought you were talking about him. Me?
No, he was talking about you. Sometimes I do see people on the air and I'm like, and I catch myself saying something out loud and then I'm like, you know what? That was me one day. And, maybe I should be more of a mentor and say, hey, look, you know what? If you're interested in talking about me helping you find your way. Now my role, I have a very clear and defined role right now.
Yeah.
I am 60. I am walking out of the building.
Yep.
I spent 2 hours with a young kid in the building last week.
Yeah.
Who I've been mentoring for a while, but I've really dug into him because now I know that this kid wants it as bad. I see myself in him.
Yeah.
And my role now has nothing to do with plotting my course. I've run my race. The way I view it now is if I can help some seeds become oak trees, then long after I'm gone, someone might say of me, because I say this of a lot of people, I would never be where I am today if it weren't for, and I hope that I have a lot of oak trees that I've left behind.
And the current afternoon hosts, Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin, better say that about me or I'll kill them both.
I hope they do. I hope they do. And you know what? It'll be easy for them to say that if you've been helpful to them. Sometimes it is hard to help the competition, guys. Yeah. And this is exactly what we're talking about.
They suck.
These guys are competition. They're on the same team, but they are definite competitors.
Absolutely.
So to put a bow tie on all of this.
Yes.
We all agreed that it made no sense to put him in at the end.
Of course not.
To the right way, right?
Yes.
Real quick, I know we pivoted in one of the
I think we will see him in one of two ways, not in blowouts. We'll see him if Dillon is hurt, or if it becomes obvious that Dillon's progressed as far as he can and he's regressing and not going forward. And sometimes in our development that happens. We go backwards. If that happens, they might say, to save Dillon from himself and more confidence erosion and skill set erosion, they may say, let's get him out of there and let's see what the kid can do.